Okay, good evening, Mr. Palmer. I'd just like to ask you a few questions.
Yes.
So could you give me a brief history and why you set up FACTS?
FACTS stands for Families Against the Casino Threat in Singapore. The reason why we set it up was that we wanted to offer Singaporeans a platform to allow them to protest against the setting up of a casino or of these IRs in Singapore, because we believe that is detrimental to family life.
So how do you think this IR will impact the future generation?
Well, I think for one, it would lead youth into thinking, or lead people into thinking, that they can get something through luck, rather than through hard work, rather than through, sheer hard work.
So the IR is actually targeted more at, say, the adults. I would like to ask your views on the youth gambling in Singapore. What are some of your views on youth gambling in Singapore?
Well, youths, as always, need role models. They have their own role models, whether they admit it or not, and it's going to be very difficult for them to avoid gambling, or to avoid looking upon gambling as a means of making money, when they see all the adults, their parents, going into this IR and gambling away. So in that sense, I think the impact would be to create a situation where people, like I said, begin to think of getting something, that they can get things through luck and not through hard work, and not through intelligence.
So how do you think these youth end up gambling in the first place?
Role models. They see the parents gambling, they see other adults gambling, they think there's nothing wrong, so they just continue it. I'll give you an example. In the past, when my wife and I used to see kids playing with cards on white decks, we always go up to them and talk to them and tell them, hey, you should be focusing on working hard and not on playing cards for the sake of making it. Doesn't make money, and they will look very sheepish and walk away, But now when you go up and talk to them and tell them the same thing, they'll look at you and say, you're crazy or what, we're preparing for our future, we're going to work in a casino. So it makes it all the more difficult for adults to tell kids that something like this is wrong.
So what do you think are their true motivations for wanting to gamble, these youth?
It's always a thought that you can get something for nothing. It's always a thought that one day the dice will turn in their favor.
So what are some of these problems that these gambling youth face?
Is that addiction? Then you get in a situation where you are always on the lookout for money to feed that addiction. And when you don't get the money, what do? You rob, you steal. It could be petty theft. It could be petty theft. It could be robberies, armed robbery, graduating ultimately to armed robbery. It could be money lending, or money borrowing rather. Loan sharks knocking in your doors.
What about their family? How is their family involved, or how would their family be involved or affected by their gambling?
Can you imagine if your son or daughter comes back and tells you that he's $10,000 in debt because he went to feed a habit, and then tomorrow the loan shark is going to beat him up or her up because he's not able to pay? The parents will have to look for a way to pay the debt because of the love for the kids, and they in turn may go and borrow from a loan shark, from relatives or kin. After a while, everybody will look at them and say, oh, every time they see me, they try to avoid them. This guy's come to borrow money again.
So what do you think should be done for this particular population of youth with regards to the social services sector in Singapore?
I don't think anything that the social services can do would be of any much help, because ultimately you really have to look at addressing the basic philosophy of whether gambling is good for you or not. And here they are caught, because Singapore as a nation believes that we should go into this area. Yet at the same time, you think that you want to try and solve this problem. You can't do that, you can't, because at most, when you try and do something to solve this problem, you're just bluffing yourself, trying to solve your own conscience. Yeah, because ultimately it's really about the motivation and the philosophy behind it.
So in that case, what do you think would be the best way to go about rectifying this motivation or this philosophy as you speak of?
Do a U-turn. Do a U-turn. Relook at the issue of the integrated resorts. Think of more creative ways of how to bring economic prosperity to Singapore. I think pay all that kind of money to our ministers, I think, just so that they can think of a casino, My grandmother could have told us that story, that casinos make money. Everybody knows that. Yeah.
Well, I see you have some pretty strong opinions with regards to the IR.
Oh yes, I think so, because it really hits at the whole basis of living, the whole basis of our existence on Earth.
I see. Well, thank you, Mr. Palmer, for your time. I appreciate you taking time off
You're welcome.
to speak to us.